Introducing a cybernetic Akame got killed. Well, the anime part at least. You'll see why I draw that comparison pretty soon. I'm J Prince, and this is an A1 anime review. This is episode 3, by the way. Welcome back, if you saw the others. This is a notice to the anime community. I don't give a fuck. One more time. I don't give a fuck about the manga. This is an anime review. I will go over some memorable moments, favorite characters, followed by my personal rating of the storytelling, as well as the animation, ending on my personal recommendation for the series. Again, this is an anime review. For the dense people in the back, that means anime only. Okay? Got it? Alright. On today's video, we will be talking about Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Before we get started, there are a few things I think you guys should know. I watched this series on Netflix and in dub, but if you already know, a lot of people don't like dub, but I prefer it. It allows me to multitask and really pay attention to the story. These are some posted ratings. These are the ones listed and the source. IMDb gave Cyberpunk Edgerunners an 8.3 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes has given this show a 100% rating. My anime list, 8.6 out of 10. Those are some of the ratings that Cyberpunk Edgerunners has earned. A leading voice actor of Cyberpunk Edgerunners is Zach Aguiar. He voices our main character, David Martinez. Here are some notable roles that I found of him. Very first notable role, a lot of our favorites, go ahead, get him out of the way, is Tanjiro Kamado of Demon Slayer. I think he's voiced him in the anime as well as in the movie. Not 100% sure on the games, but I would assume so. Arthur Pendragon of Seven Deadly Sins also voiced him there, and one of our favorites, Genos from One Punch Man. Koichi Hirose, again, I'm not much of a fan of JoJo's, but this is a JoJo character. I don't know if this is a favorite, but thought it was something to note. As well as Colt from Hunter x Hunter, those of you who like to call it that as well. Dystopia overrun by corruption, crime, and cybernetic implants. We follow the story of an impulsive but talented kid that goes by the name David Martinez. After losing his mother in a car accident / drive-by shooting, David is left alone to deal with her debts and, to survive. This leads him to make decisions like getting implants that resulted in him trying to survive on the streets as an edgerunner that is known as a cyberpunk. These edgerunners are high-tech black market mercenaries, and they aren't really nothing to mess with. You get to watch his journey, the story of it. It's action-packed, dramatic, and overall interesting. Let's go in more about our MC. We follow the life of David Martinez, student at Arasaka Academy. This is a prep school, kind of like a tuition-based thing, pretty expensive for the most part. David comes from struggle, honestly. His mom works a job, but she's going in as hard as she can while working a side hustle to put him up to the school simply because she wants better for him. That's really what her dream was, provide better for her son. David is a top achiever at school, but kind of still gets into a little bit of trouble, and it's probably due to him knowing that they're in a tough situation and he's trying to make it easier. After a tragic car accident though, David's life just completely changed. I'm gonna be fair, David attempts to continue to go to school, tried it, but this kind of was short-lived. He was immediately met with a school bully, and that's how we're gonna call that. Someone who basically thought that he was beneath him. This was a kid going by the name Tanaka. I'm only remembering his last name. His first name was so forgettable, because quite honestly, fuck that kid. But this kid was really giving David a hard time simply because he believed David didn't belong there, because he was poor and wasn't meant to be in the same place that he was. In attempts to defend himself, David got put in his place. He got his ass whooped. Dealing with current loss, David couldn't just handle that. David got his ass beat. David decided to get one of the most important pieces of this story, Sandeviscan spinal implant that turned him into what we later see in this series. In this time of David learning to be an edge runner, he deals with more and more loss. To be an edge runner, you probably should have a little bit more cybernetic implants. Once David realized that he was at a disadvantage and he couldn't save people he was connected to, kind of got addicted to it. And that's what I think him getting more and more implants is his way to cope. Granted, he had a high immunity or a high affinity for for it, it still affected him in a way that hurt him in the end. What I mean by that is, at some degree, for Cyberpunk, when they get so many cybernetic enhancements, they start to develop a sickness. In this series, they call it cyberpsychosis. And basically what cyberpsychosis is when you start to phase out and can't determine who's friendly or an enemy. That can lead to a lot of death. Throughout time, David even witnesses these events. He's also witnessed it before he was an Edgerunner. Used to watch edits made by Jimmy Kurosaki. That guy made death edits of people going through cyberpsychosis. Granted, it might have been illegal to watch, he still liked to watch them. And by watching them, also experienced the moment. Kinda got a little bit of a thrill out of it. Adrenaline junkie, a death junkie, I don't know. Overall, he's not unfamiliar with the effects of cyberpsychosis. He gets even more familiar with it throughout this story as he sees people close to him succumb to it. I want to introduce to you some of my favorite and least favorite moments. First, I'm going to go off and tell you my favorite characters of this series, as well as the least favorite. My favorite character of this series is not a good guy. But granted, I don't think anyone really is in this world. But my favorite character is Faraday, voiced by the amazing, might pronounce this incorrectly, Giancarlo Esposito. Hopefully I pay this man his much deserved respect. He does an amazing job at portraying antagonistic characters of like any kind, especially in video games and his movies. If you've seen The Mandalorian, he does an amazing job in there as well. Simply off of that fact, Faraday's my favorite character. Faraday is introduced to us, the audience, as the man with the big bucks with the big jobs. Ultimately, his role is that of a fixer. That's the title they call him. But Faraday works for a company called Militech, and he basically goes and search for intel that his bosses want. He leverages that intel to Edgerunners and Cyberpunks, as well as against opposing companies to benefit. This character made as like a bad person, or it's an antagonist, but I feel like it was done so well. You can't but like how well he's portrayed, and we get to see what becomes of Faraday as well. Now let's slide into our least favorite character. I'm gonna be honest, it's really hard to not like anybody in this show, but there is one guy, Killer. Killer is might want to call him Pilar, but yeah, I didn't really fuck with Pilar. Yeah, it was perverted. He had that prep boy, college boy, frat boy energy. I didn't like it. I just wasn't feeling it. Corny to me. That might have been the point of his character. Pilar was one of the main cyberpunks in the group David first joined, and I say main because the leader of that group is Main. Another character that could be a favorite. Pilar is someone who typically got a little handsy with this character by the name of Lucy, love interest to David. Creepy stuff like that is a quick way to make me not like a character, and it's kind of hard to attach to like what was supposed to happen for Pilar, because got his head blew the fuck off. We're gonna keep it honest, and I think that aspect of watching Pilar really actually developed David to a degree that we see near the later episode. That is the end of my least favorite characters and my favorite characters. You guys are gonna enjoy this series. Speaking more into like the world design and the character designs, I want to start off and talk about what and how Night City looks to me. Night City looks like something that is futuristic thrill seekers wet dream. I'm gonna say it like that. This place looks absolutely amazing. You know, flying cars, just a lot of cybernetic integration as far as the people and the world itself. It's very beautifully crafted in a sense that it feels catered to. I understand it comes from a game. It does not feel like they minimized anything about it. It still feels very large and open and easily enticing, as well as just beautiful and dark. There's a reason I think people aren't moving out of Night City, and that's because Night City is, for one, beautiful. Two, I think extremely addicting, because the people who are doing good are doing good. The people who are doing bad don't seem to care that they aren't doing that good. They are enjoying whatever type of life they actually have, which is why Night City I think is kind of scary, but still interesting. The character designs in here are kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. You see a lot of different types of characters, whether it's from a B-roll shot to the Atom Smasher character that gets thrown in and mentioned a couple times. His design is amazing. The world and the characters were all attended to with care and thought, and as well as just love. It definitely does show uniqueness. To summarize, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, let's get into it. I did enjoy the one season I did watch. I'm not entirely sure if a season 2 will be getting worked on based off the ending, but I do know they have the possibility to. They can expand the story from another Edgerunner. They could even do the effects that Edgerunners have. They could come at it from a viewpoint of a Militech worker, Arasaka. It's so many different stories that can be told from Cyberpunk Edgerunners that it not necessarily actually have to be Edgerunners. There's just so much they can do with it, and quite honestly, I like that they did it that way. With season 1 though, we see a promising student at Arasaka Academy turn towards a life his mother never wanted him to have due to her untimed death in a car accident. That choice that David made led him to meet new people whom he had to prove his worthiness to. After being accepted into this new family, he slowly starts to adapt similar goals and ambitions as his crews, and particularly his leader, Maine. This leads to David living his life in a manner that wasn't never truly his. Well, never truly himself. I don't think David lived for his own purpose. David seemed to always put others' dreams ahead of his own, make them the forefront of his life, never truly living up to his potential. This story reminds me of Akame got killed, violence, drama, mystery, but also has serious undertones of trauma, drug abuse, and the effects of capitalistic system. Here are my ratings. This is something I debated heavy on, but at the end of the day, the storytelling is done pretty well. I was going to rate this something similar to the lines that the other ratings were, but I actually have to give this show its credit because they attack so much. There's so many different metaphors that the storytelling deserves a 9 out of 10. Yeah, kind of high. I know. I think that's the highest I've gotten so far. The animation, on the other hand, a lot of blood, a lot of gore, pretty good. There's a lot of stillness. There could have been a little bit more action. I feel like some stuff could have been a little smoother, but I did not dislike it. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. So, we near the end of this anime review, this show, Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Do I still recommend it or not? Yes, but with warning. The show is a bit graphic. It's for a mature audience. There is nudity, but again, it's an animation. I don't remember any sex scenes, but again, viewer discretion is advised because there's a lot of blood, a lot of violence, a lot of foul language, but ultimately, use your own discretion because of those things I list. Thank you guys for watching an A1 anime review. This is the end of episode 3. I wanted this episode out a lot sooner, but I got sick last week and I didn't have my voice. I still struggled to speak a little bit, but it's not hard talking as it was last week. It took a lot of energy for me to talk. Now I feel pretty decent. Thank you guys for watching and supporting. If you are new here, hit that like button, subscribe. Reaction content / commentary is coming soon with some other series. Go ahead and leave in some recommendations as well. Go ahead, comment them right now. Thank you for watching.